What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we are for a SmackDown in AEW's debut of Rampage review for August the 13th, 2021. Let's just get down to it. This tonight was a big deal for All Elite Wrestling in expanding their audience because we had one big match, one match that was leading to something big afterwards, and then the main event, which was an absolute just dumpster fire, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And of course on SmackDown they're building to SummerSlam, which is next week, and we'll talk about that. But I think I'm going to talk about Rampage first because it is the new kid on the block. It is the first show of this new era in AEW. And first thing off my chest, it's like I thought I read somewhere or I heard something about they were supposed to have a different set for Rampage, because that's not the case. It's the same set that you have on Wednesday nights, which I guess is fine, even though, just like WWE, I think giving Rampage its own set would give it its own identity instead of just like, oh, it's Wednesday Night Light, because it's only an hour instead of 2. But we started this show on tonight with Kenny Omega versus Christen Cage for the Impact Heavyweight Championship. Of course, everyone knows that Kenny Omega won the Impact and TNA World Championships from Rich Swann at, what was it? I don't even remember what the fucking pay-per-view was, but anyway, he's held it since then. Took on Moose, took on Sami Callihan tonight. The winner of tonight's match is going to go to Resurgence to take on Brian Myers. And Kenny Omega had to get this match done and over with early, and that's the biggest reason why this match is the first one. It's because he's got to get on a plane, and he's probably on his way to Mexico right now to battle Andrade for the AAA Mega Championship. And there's a possibility that he could lose that title too. Oh, spoiler alert, anyway. But yes, Christen Cage is the new Impact Heavyweight Champion of the world. This was a good match. Now, the biggest problem I have with this match is that on September 5th, less than a month from now, they're going to be going one-on-one again for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. Now, here's the thing. The way this match ended saved, that, like, a lot of people are going to probably complain, me included, that this match should have never happened because they're going to have a match on September 5th. But the way they ended that match is the perfect way to save Kenny Omega and keep him looking strong, while also taking the Impact title off of him, giving him time away. If they want to get the title back onto him afterwards, after he goes to Mexico, goes and takes a rest, and they can have the match at the AEW World Title match, maybe at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which is supposed to have representation from AEW, New Japan, I believe NWA, and Impact all in one. Maybe there's a fatal 4-way, maybe there's not, I don't know. But yes, good match between these two. This is how you kick off a new era, a new show on TNT. You already have the Wednesday night established. You need to establish Friday nights. This is the way to do it. Both guys going out there, beating the hell out of each other. Omega trying multiple times to hit the one-winged angel. Christian continues to get out of it. Christian looks to have Omega on the ropes. Don Callis gets up on the apron. He's arguing with the ref. Low blow, back kick low blow to Christian from Omega. Omega is waving somebody in. It's the Young Bucks who bring a chair. They slide it into the ring. Don Callis is waving his pink scarf around while Kenny Omega sets up the chair. He's going to go for the one-winged angel on the chair. Christian gets out of the one-winged angel, hits the kill switch on the chair. Gets rid of the evidence. 1, 2, 3. Christen Cage is your new Impact Heavyweight Champion in what was probably the best way to book the ending of this match. I am still a little miffed at the fact that they threw this match away, but it's like, yes, Kenny Omega is... This is 100% telling you Kenny Omega is retaining at the pay-per-view, which everyone knows he was going to. But now now they can build it up as Christian beat Kenny. He beat him, and this is the first time. I don't remember which I'm sure some stat whiz on Twitter or something will have when the last time Kenny Omega lost a match by pinfall, but it's been well over a year ago. So, Kenny Omega, no longer Impact World Champion. Is it going to stay that way permanently? Maybe, I doubt this because Brian Myers is not World Champion material in my opinion. Maybe Brian Myers wins the title and takes it back to Impact, getting it away from AEW. But again, I highly doubt that. But this gives Kenny Omega that doubt and Christian that thought that I beat you with a chair. Maybe they even take the match at All Out and put a stipulation on it. We still have about 3 weeks left until All Out. We could have them do a promo and they raise the stakes. Maybe we have a champion versus champion match. Winner take all. And it's a no disqualification match. Everyone's banned from ringside. Don Callis can be on commentary if he wants to, but everyone's banned from ringside. And it's Kenny Omega, Christian Cage, maybe a Falls Count Anywhere match, maybe a tables match, maybe a ladder match. Kenny Omega, Christian Cage inside of in a ladder match. That would be great in my opinion. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. Christian Cage, brand new champion. The Jurassic Express come out to celebrate with him. Kenny Omega gets out of there because, again, he has to get on a plane to Mexico to take on Andrade tomorrow night at Triple Mania. I think it's Triple Mania. Some Mega Champion. Somewhere he has to defend the title for the Mega Championship. And he could possibly lose that too. We'll have to wait and see. So, we get a promo backstage after the match from Christian Cage. Let's get the volume up on here so you can hear this. Christian Cage after his win tonight.
Excited about this. The new Impact World Champion. Listen, it's got to be one of the proudest moments of your life. But you have something else in store for us coming up in September 5th. Listen, man, the AEW World Championship. That's the big moment. Tell me something. How do you feel?
I feel great. And you know what? I'll tell you right now, this little bit of the bubbly is damn cold, but it is hot tonight in Pittsburgh, baby. Now, Mark, man, I love you. I'm so glad you're here, by the way. I said I was going to take Kenny's titles and I was going to start with the Impact Championship. But guess what? Kenny Omega is as advertised. He is one of the toughest guys I've ever been in that ring with. And he's so talented. So if I thought beating him for this Impact Championship was going to be hard, it's going to be nearly impossible for me to win that AEW World Heavyweight Championship. But I'm living in your head right now, aren't I, Kenny? You know what can be done. You know I can beat you. And it's going to happen at All Out.
And for some reason during this, you have the Jurassic Express who are aligned with him, which I still think Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage is going to be a match down the line. I think they had to push that feud aside because Hangman Adam Page is having a child soon, so he couldn't be at All Out. But for some reason, Orange Cassidy is standing behind all three of these guys, just chilling. I don't know why Orange Cassidy was back there.
All Out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a new champion. Christian, congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you, man.
And, hey, if they do a champion versus champion match, winner take all, then, of course, Mark Henry is going to be absolutely right. We're going to have a new champion. But until then, we don't know. We get a Feugo del Sol promo about how tonight's match for the TNT Championship is the biggest match of his life. Absolutely. He's probably the only time he gets a championship match in a very long time. He talks about how the fans have continued to support him in AEW. Mira says his opponent will be cleansed with pain tonight. So, of course, if this is a TNT title match, if Feugo del Sol wins this match, doesn't have to win the championship. Let's be clear about that. He could win by pinfall, submission, countout, disqualification. All he has to do is win the match, and he's signed to AEW. But, so the Soul comes out of nowhere in the beginning of the match, before the match even started, hits the Tornado DDT. Of course, the bell hadn't rung yet, so the ref finally rings the bell. He gets another off the top rope Tornado DDT. Miro rolls to the floor, and I'm like, this could be the way. This is perfect. This is perfect. If he gets counted out, Del Sol gets the contract, and Miro's done. He doesn't have to win. He doesn't have to lose by pinfall or submission. He loses by countout. Gets back in, another tornado DDT as Miro gets back in at 9.5. It was so close. He tries for a third, gets a 2 count, tries for another one off the top rope. Miro catches him, hits him with the Samoan drop. Big kick to the face, game over, and that's that. Miro and Del Sol taps out, and that is that. Post-match, Miro has the AEW contract for Del Sol and just tears it up in front of the camera. So, we go to commercial break. We come back. Fuego's still in the ring. He's getting up. Fans are clapping. People are like all in on this guy. Then we hear Sammy's music play. Here comes Sammy Guevara with Tony Khan. Tony Khan gives him a hug. Gives him a clipboard with something on it. Sammy Guevara walks to the ring and says, Tony Khan comes out, he says, you may have lost, but maybe there's victory in defeat. You've been coming to AEW for a year, making it, he's like 1-50, I think he's like 1-40 though. But the fans love him. The crowd chants a big, huge Fuego. Says, Tony felt like it was only right that Guevara, who is Fuego's best friend, you see it every week on his vlog, that Fuego del Sol is all elite. So, even though he lost the match, he got the contract, and you can tell, I honestly don't think he actually expected to get the championship, because, the contract, because he, was crying. He was crying happy tears that he is finally signed. So, congratulations to Fuego del Sol. He is definitely somebody very popular with the crowd. When Malachi Black hit him with the black mask 3 weeks ago, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, that got major heat on Malachi. Not just in where they were at. I think they were in I think they were in Charlotte. I think it was in North Carolina. But on social media, everybody was cursing Black's name because he nailed Fuego with the black mask. So that was great. Great for Fuego. Fuego, he's 1-50. He did get him, his one win was in a tag team match with, I think it was with Marco. It was, yeah. Him and Marco Stunt took on Ryzen, and I think it was Baron Black, and he got a win with the Tornado DDT. Now that he's officially signed, get this guy some wins, and maybe by this time next year, he could possibly be TNT champion. I could totally see it. Or put him in a tag team with somebody. Tag team champion, maybe. Who knows? Then we go up to the rafters, and there is Sting and Darby Allin, which Chris Jericho was talked about how Sting loves being in the rafters. Video package of Darby Allin's promo about proving you're greatest even if you're the best in the world. Video package shows that next week will be the largest crowd in AEW's history until we get to New York for Arthur Ashe. That's going to be the biggest crowd in AEW history, but it's going to be a big crowd next week. Mark Henry talks with both women for the Women's Championship match. It was boring. It was, just cringe, and, Faker needs to lose this title ASAP. Everything she says is just unbelievable. She comes off as delusional as shit, which if you're a heel, you're supposed to be delusional, I guess, sometimes. And just, nah. So, we get to the main event match. The crowd, of course, pops because they're in Pittsburgh. And if you actually look at the crowd, the front row area, that front row bowl, yeah, that's everyone waving the Faker's towels, which if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you should feel disrespected because that's not a terrible towel. That's a delusional, moronic, dumbass towel. But if you look in the back area, most of the people in the back area are doing nothing. Yes, there's some people waving those towels, but there's a lot of people in the back actually just not giving a shit. So, AEW, the Faker, can actually pretend like she's one of the most over women because they are in Pittsburgh, but she's not. And this match was boring. This match was bland. This match went about 10 to 15 minutes, and the majority of the match was basic wrestling moves, nothing special. First off, Red Velvet is nowhere close to being in line for. Should be nowhere close to being in line for a true chance at the Women's Championship. Even if they were in her hometown, there's no reason she should even be in this spot. Winning against, this is one of the biggest problems with Dark and Dark Elevation, and is that most of the people who are in the top 5 are only beating people in 2-3 minute matches on Tuesday and Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday nights. How could you take any of these seriously? I know you can't have the Young Bucks versus the against FTR every other month, but it's I'm supposed to take Red Velvet seriously. She wasn't even number 1 out of this past Wednesday when they put out the new rankings. Red Velvet wasn't even the number 1 contender. Why the fuck is she getting a title match? Yes, you can't have Chris Statlander or Thunder Rosa do the job tonight, because those are pay-per-view matches down the line. Both of them are. Even though Faker should lose it at fucking All Out, plain and simple. That was a failure. This match tonight was absolutely one of the worst things they could have did for the main event. And if they weren't in Pittsburgh tonight, this match isn't main eventing. The only reason Kenny Omega and Christian Cage started the show is because Kenny Omega had to get on a plane and get to fucking Mexico. Which, the reason you gotta have Kenny Omega on this show tonight is it's the first episode, and you want people to believe that Rampage is on the same level as their Wednesday night show. And having Omega there, wrestling in the first match, win, lose, draw, doesn't matter, it makes it a big fucking deal. So, they had a boring, bland match. Here's another thing. It was doing picture-in-picture for this match. And this I do not blame on the women. I do blame Faker a little bit, because we all talk shit on AEW's referees. Well, Red Velvet's in the corner. Faker is kicking her, doing the mud hole stomp or whatever. Referee tells her to stop. She turns around. The referee can still see Red Velvet in his vicinity. Instead of turning the referee around so his back is to Red Velvet, she's arguing with him, and Rebel decides to take the crutch and attack Red Velvet in the view of the fucking referee. Are you kidding me? These referees are so fucking blind. Bryce Rensburg is one of the worst referees AEW has, because he misses everything. So, Faker wins. Of course she does. Apparently, she broke her wrist against Nyla Rose in her last title defense. So, she goes to put Red Velvet tries to put the lockjaw on, because, that is, it would be one of the most humiliating things for a wrestler to lose to their own submission or finisher. So, she bounces off the ropes. Faker gets tries to get the lockjaw on. Red Velvet had the sleeve that she was wearing, the glove she was wearing off, so it's down to wrist tape on her quote-unquote broken wrist, which is bullshit. If she has a legitimate broken wrist, if Shida or Rose or Riho would have had a broken wrist as AEW Women's Champion, they would have stripped them of the title and said, we can't have you because you can't compete, we have to take the title off of you. But they let her keep her championship. It's fucking bullshit. Now, she takes the lockjaw and gets out of it and smashes the hurt hand. So, Faker doesn't sell this whatsoever. Doesn't sell it at all. Flips around, puts her in the other one, and gets her in the lockjaw. I'm like, are you fucking serious? You're supposed to have a quote-unquote broken fucking wrist, and your opponent just smashed you at least 6 or 7, maybe even 10 times, and you act like it doesn't even fucking matter. And this is your women's champion. Congratulations, AEW. Your Jinder Mahal moment is still going on. The sooner she loses this championship, the better. So she wins. After the match, she continues to attack Red Velvet. In comes Chris Statlander, who knocks her over, who then gets attacked from a woman who has a face mask on and a hat, takes it off, and it's Jamie Hayter. Which, when was the last, have we ever seen Jamie Hayter in AEW? I do not know. But, yeah, remember that this woman said that she had backup because, of course, Rebel isn't always there to help her. So, yeah. Okay, so yeah, she was in AEW on the October 23rd episode. She lost to, that's kind of funny, she lost to the person she's helping now. Then she was attacked by Brandy Rose, made a return on November 6th, teaming with Emi Sakurai against Riho and Shana, and that was it. Now she makes a return tonight on Rampage to be the muscle to the Faker, because the Faker fucking sucks. Her promo skills suck, her in-ring work sucks, everything sucks, and the second she loses that title, the women's division goes up. Until then, the women's division's gonna suck. Now, Rampage, first off, like I said, I'm pretty sure I thought I read somewhere that they were supposed to have a different set. Maybe they're gonna do something next week for the United Center. But this was, outside of the main event, this was a pretty good show. That main event was terrible. But next week, no matches have been announced. They'll definitely announce stuff on Wednesday. Next week is going to be a hell of a show for Wednesday night, with the tag team titles being on the line. Sting in his first match on TNT in over 20 years. 20 and a half years. The last time he was on TNT in a match was the final match in Nitro against Ric Flair. So it'll be good to see what happens next week. But that is Rampage. But before that show went live, we had SmackDown. And that show started with John Cena coming out to face with Roman Reigns. So Cena comes out. Also, we saw the contract. They showed us a video of the contract signing. Cena came down to take out Corbin after Corbin took out Finn Balor. Which, by the way, where the fuck's Finn Balor this week? Why doesn't he come out and complain to John Cena and have John Cena come up with the reason why he should be happy about stealing somebody's opportunity? He's hyped up, and he welcomes us to SmackDown, hypes the SummerSlam match with Reigns for next Saturday, which, by the way, SummerSlam is next Saturday. Can you believe it? It's crazy. Cena says the school going back to session. It's time to give Reigns his report card, and says he's a D. A below average D. A D-head. A D-bag. And all over a huge disappointment. So we're getting dick jokes from John Cena. Can we get serious in this entire thing? Yes, the match sells itself on its own. Roman Reigns, the only person that WWE gives a shit about on the main roster, or in WWE in general, versus the guy who was given the flag in 2002 and has never let it go. Cena says that's why he came back to this very specific agenda to give Reigns an F. Says Reigns will receive the F from him at SummerSlam. He wants to hear the Tulsa feels about this. Fans chant boo, then chant Cena. Cena has a pop quiz of fans. Do you think Reigns will beat the hell out of him at SummerSlam? The crowd loudly responds with a mixed reaction. Cena says Reigns will beat the hell out of him at SummerSlam, but he also knows Reigns will lose at SummerSlam, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Out comes Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. And then we go to commercial break. We come back, and Reigns and Heyman are in the ring now. Cena gives the crowd to give it up for them. He says this is a lively crowd. He thanks Reigns and Heyman for joining us. I really wish this was on YouTube somewhere so you can actually listen. There were parts of this promo, before I continue, there were parts of this promo that were great. But there's other parts that's just, no. No, just no. Please fucking no. Enough of the cringy shit. Enough of all that. So, as we continue, he says, Reigns says, let's get to it. Cena says he's going to wait until next Saturday to embarrass Reigns on the biggest stage of them all. Reigns is like, is that it? That all you got? Cena says that's all he needs. He says he sees a guy walking around like this is your show. Like we have all to play by his rules. Like this is your company. Says everyone knows the company belongs to the fans. Tell that to the Vince McMahon, because we all know that's bullshit. Cena goes on and says he's back because he's the only one who can shut Reigns up. Cena talks more about why he's back and says he was asked to come back so he can serve Reigns a big slice of humble pie, which he will do at SummerSlam to shut him up. Roman sucks chant start up. He says the fans know that they have 1 week to decide, but they know it will be what it will be. Reigns thought Cena was going to bring something different and fresh tonight. He knocks Cena's jokes and tells him to hit with something better. Cena mentions again how Reigns will beat him good at SummerSlam. He doesn't need to prove himself to Reigns. What is so historic is he just needs to pin Reigns 1, 2, 3. Cena says if he can hold on to that title just one more time, it makes it number 17. It will make him the most decorated of all time. All he needs to do is pin Reigns. 1, 2, 3. Cena says, as fun as it is, it will be for him, it'll be better for Reigns. He goes on about how he's here to help Reigns. Reigns and Heyman joke about Cena's comment. Reigns talks more about Cena being the best at the top of WWE on Mount Rushmore, but Reigns just glad he can beat Cena. Cena is good enough to main event SummerSlam, good enough to win the WWE title, but not good enough to win the Universal title. Reigns says 20 years of mystery might be good enough for you, but it's not good enough for Nikki Bella. There you go. Again, more sex jokes, don't really fucking need that. Reigns says he's gonna smash Cena, retain the title, pack him on a private jet, and send him back to Hollywood. But he wants Cena to enjoy this because this might be the last time you see John Cena, which Cena acknowledges. Reigns tells Cena to take us home. Cena says Reigns was the hypocritical knock him for the D jokes, but then bring up sex and breakups he had. Cena goes on about how Reigns has been protected, about how he almost ruined Seth Rollins and ran Dean Ambrose out of WWE. I'm like, Cena, it's kind of funny when you talk about someone being protected when, hell, that's all you were for your entire time in WWE from 2002 on. You were protected more than anybody. How many people got to shine in Cena's life? How many guys outside of a Randy Orton, Batista, got to actually get to that upper echelon whilst John Cena was on top? Very rarely anybody. They would face John Cena, they would maybe win one match. If you go to a couple other matches, Cena would win those other matches, and then they'd be back in the mid card. He goes about how Reigns is protected with the whole system behind him, and it's still not working. It wasn't working from 2014 up to 2020 before the pandemic. It's working now. Reigns needs to be embarrassed. He says Reigns is right by a lot. SummerSlam will be compelling. Cena will go to a Hollywood set afterwards, and Reigns will smash him. But Heyman knows better than anyone how much Cena can take and still hang on, and all he needs to do is hang on for that 1, 2, 3, which the crowd was counting with every time Cena said it after the first one. Cena calls Reigns the biggest failure in WWE history. Jinder Mahal. I'm sorry. Reigns, up until 2020 and him leaving for about 6 months, was the biggest failure, one of the biggest failures in WWE. But since he's been back at SummerSlam last year, he has been the best part of WWE. And the Universal title, and this is something you couldn't say before he won it last year. There is nobody you could tell me that this dude coming back has not been the best thing, and that Universal title actually feels important. The Intercontinental title doesn't feel important. The US title doesn't feel important. The WWE Championship doesn't feel as important as it used to. But the Universal title actually feels like a big fucking deal. Calls Reigns, he says Reigns has to shine, smash, and bash, and overachieve, but all Cena needs to do is 1, 2, 3. Then Reigns will be the answer to a trivia question. Who did John Cena beat to become a 17-time world champion? Cena says Reigns is going to show up like he does and put on a hell of a show, and all Cena is going to do is hang on for 1, 2, 3. Cena goes on about, he says he's going to take the title, hop the barrier with the title, and may even blow Reigns a kiss goodbye. That is a CM Punk reference if there ever was one. Cena says Reigns doesn't get this. It's inevitable. No one can protect Reigns any longer. At SummerSlam, the champ is gone. Thompson, 1, 2, 3 in his face. Once again, drops the mic. Exits the ring to the pop as his music hits. Marches right to the back as Reigns raises his title in the air. Some fans boo. This was an up and down promo for sure. Definitely some good talking points there. The fact that he pretty much blamed Roman Reigns for almost ruining Seth Rollins and running Dean Ambrose out of WWE. That is funny. Because if you think about it, when the last time the Shield made their return, which was after Roman won the Universal title at SummerSlam a couple years ago, I think it was 2018 or 2019, whatever year it was. And it was 2018. It had to be 2018, but yeah. When Roman won the title at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins was on this high. He was doing great things. Just came off of a run as he was Intercontinental Champion at the time. He was doing great. And then the very next night, the Shield returned to be a blockade for Roman Reigns. After, the Shield made the return, I believe, the year before that and the year before that, WWE could not contain themselves by having the Shield return. And everything that they did to try and protect Roman Reigns hurt Seth Rollins, for sure. Dean Ambrose was already 1 foot out the door before any of this shit happened, so him running Dean Ambrose out of WWE, I highly doubt that, but yes. Seth Rollins being brought in, the whole Shield thing that time, it did hurt overall. So we have Nakamura versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental title instead of having this at SummerSlam. Here we go. We get ourselves another title match in which we have a new champion as Nakamura wins the Intercontinental Championship. Both the outside guys were thrown out midway through the match. Boogs gets up on the top of on the apron, playing his music to distract Apollo. The ref says, "Get the fuck out of here." Aziz gets up on the apron. Ref says, "Get the fuck out of here." And it was all downhill for Crews after that. Crews with the German suplex for a close 2 count. Crews waits for Nakamura to get to his feet. Nakamura dodges the Olympic Slam, nailing an arm drag, stuns Crews, and delivers a Michinoku driver for a close 2. He hits another explosive suplex and waits for the Kinshasa. Hits the Kinshasa, 1, 2, 3, and Nakamura is the new Intercontinental Champion. This is why I say the Intercontinental title has no meaning. Apollo Crews has had the Intercontinental title between WrestleMania and tonight. What has he done with it? What have they booked him to do? Lose on TV, non-title matches time and time again. Why would anybody want to be a champion unless your name is Roman fucking Reigns, Drew McIntyre, or Bobby Lashley? Those guys hardly ever lost as champion. Roman Reigns does not lose on TV as champion, which is the smartest thing to do for him. But why would you want to be champion when that's your fate? You're going to lose and lose and lose and lose and lose and lose and lose. And then you win. Then you have a championship match against the guy who beat you, and then you lose again. So Apollo Crews going back to catering part 1 is done. He lost the Intercontinental title. Aziz is going to turn on him very, very soon because I guarantee the next time Apollo Crews loses a match, he's going to blame Aziz, and then he's going to slap Aziz. Aziz is going to beat him up, and Aziz is going to turn on Apollo Crews. And Apollo Crews, after a one-off match against Aziz where Aziz will kill him, he goes back to catering, never to be seen again. So we get the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy. We get a video package of everything that's going on between these two teams. And then we get a match. And this match was bland. Why did you not give these guys a better match? You just had a banger of an Intercontinental title match. But this match is more personal. Otis took both members of the Street Profits out. And this match, didn't even get out of second gear. I don't know why WWE booked this like this. Hell, why did Angelo Dawkins and Otis have a match at Rolling Loud in front of a bunch of people who never gave a fuck? This should have been a match. This could have been a grudge match at SummerSlam on the kickoff show if you wanted to, because at least they would have got 15, 20 minutes on pay-per-view, on the pre-show, to go out there and give you a damn good match. But here, it wasn't anything special. Otis gets knocked over on the outside by Ford, who does a tope over the top rope. Dawkins takes advantage, hits a twisting corkscrew neckbreaker for the pin and the win, and the Profits are your winners. Is this feud over? More than likely not, just because that's how it works. The feud will continue. We'll probably see singles matches and tag team matches leading to probably some kind of hardcore match at Extreme Rules. Seth Rollins in the production trunk. Hey, look, there's Kevin Dunn. Hey, that's just weird. He's asking Seth, hey Seth, you got any wood for me? I need some wood. I'm low on wood. You got any for me, Seth? Oh, you don't? Okay, I'll have to ask somebody else. So Seth Rollins comes out, he cuts a promo, he takes the mic and says, I hate to be a party pooper, but his sources told him that Edge is not here tonight. Rollins is just as disappointed as fans because he loved nothing more than putting his fist in Edge's face over the lies he told about Rollins last week. We want Edge champ breaks out, and Rollins says he wants Edge too, but according to Edge, we have the next best thing, Edge Light. Last on Edge for having the nerve to call him that. He's calling the most egotistical thing he has ever said. No, that is not even close. He can't stack the fact that Rollins' career has been a little bit better than Edge's in everything Rollins has done, and he's done just a little better than Edge. Says he isn't just an opinion, we have documented verbal proof. It takes time to put together a career retrospective of how he and Edge to show the truth. Rollins calls the footage to be played. Shows some of the biggest moments in his Edge career, from the Brood, how he started in the Brood after a couple months on his own. But when Seth Rollins came in, he came in as a member of the Shield, which they tried to use as little Ambrose footage as possible, by the way. What else was there? His Rumble win, winning Money in the Bank. His Rumble win, winning the Universal Championship, whereas Edge won the Rumble this past year, but failed at WrestleMania. They both had a Money in the Bank win, but they both cashed in, but nobody remembers Edge's because the WrestleMania 31 Heist of the Century. Rollins says he had a bit of revelation watching that video and says Edge should be thanking him. Not just Edge, all the fans should be thanking him as well. He says if he had stopped Edge back in 2014, he wouldn't be having a conversation or this dream match at SummerSlam. All those moments, Edge, epic comeback, and everything else, none of it would have happened if Rollins stomped him on in 2014. Instead, we got the Authority back, and how well did that work out? Including his acting career, Edge wouldn't be pushing his kids at home on the swing set because they'd be pushing him on a damn wheelchair. Rollins says Edge has pushed him too far and is making him say things he didn't want to say. Edge has compromised Rollins' own future, which compromises his family. Rollins gets close to the camera and to send the message to Edge. He says, this isn't 2014. He's changed and times have changed. And at SummerSlam, he won't hold back. He will stomp Edge's head to the mat. And if he puts him out for good, then so be it. And the fans boo more. And the music starts up. And that is that. So the Mysterios are backstage. Dominic is confident about how he beat Rude and Ziggler. They're going to beat Rude and Ziggler tonight. They mentioned how they beat them to capture the title, but Ray warns him about getting too confident, especially after what happened last week against the Usos. Ray tells Dominic to get out there and take care of business as they head to the ring. And I've noticed since they lost the tag team titles that they are pushing Ray's pushing Dominic's buttons a little bit more. He's being more, what do you want to say? He's not lashing out to him. He's telling this dude that, dude, we got to go out there and we got to kick ass, take names. We got it. Like, he's being more critical of Dominic and pushing Dominic to try and be better. And it just feels like they're leading to a split between the father and son. And possibly that match that I thought was going to happen at WrestleMania, which honestly, they were teasing. They were teasing before the Royal Rumble. It just felt like they were going to have a match. And then that they were going to end up having a match at WrestleMania between those two. Of course, that didn't happen. They weren't even at WrestleMania, which was fucking bullshit. But here we go. Here we go. It's going to be Mysterios. It feels like they're just on that collision course to where Dom is going to get sick and tired of hearing his dad telling him what to do and how to work as a wrestler, and he's going to blame his dad for all of his losses because his dad just won't stop butting in. So it could happen at SummerSlam. That could be a big thing, is that they lose the tag team title match. I'm not predicting that yet. I'll talk about that. Man, next week's gonna fucking suck because I have to do Raw, SmackDown, Rampage, and SummerSlam's predictions. That's gonna be crazy. But anyway, we have the Mysterios versus Robert Roode and Ziggler. We've seen this match before. Nothing special here, except for the fact that they were about to go for the 619. Dom was. The Usos come up on the big screen. They're taunting them. They're taunting them. Roode tags in on Ziggler, and this is something that doesn't make sense to me. Roode smacked Ziggler on the back because Ziggler was down in the 619. He gets in. He charges at Dom. Ray shoves Dom out of the way, making contact with him. How is that not a tag? How is that not a tag? But Roode can tag Ziggler on the back and get a tag. It just didn't make any sense to me. The ref saw it. The ref saw Ray shove Dom. He shoves Dom, gets knocked over. Roode attacks Dom, ends up rolling Roode up for the 1, 2, 3, which honestly I think Dom was Dom was not the legal man, but no, that's what you gotta do. We get the ring, and out comes Baron Corbin with no entrance again, looking for money. He comes out, he whines, he complains, he begs everybody for $1,000 each, has a card swiper on his scan, he's going to have everybody give him $1,000. Out comes Kevin Owens. Corbin says he knows Owens is out here tonight for reasons to contribute. Owens said he's not here to help Corbin, he's here to say this needs to stop, the begging needs to stop. Corbin needs to stop embarrassing himself. He tried to help Corbin weeks ago, but what he was wrong about Corbin being like him is just making mistakes. I can't believe they're going on this. I still can't believe they're going on with this stupid storyline because it's unrealistic. You want to know something? This is the most unrealistic storyline in WWE. And we have a women's champion on Monday Night Raw dressed like a fucking superhero, and another woman who's playing with a doll acting like a demon girl. And this is the most unrealistic thing in WWE. You are making millions of dollars in WWE, and I'm supposed to believe that you're broke? That WWE's not paying you well enough to keep you from being broke? Give me a fucking break. Nobody believes this. I believe Nikki Cross, Nikki Trash as a superhero over this. I believe Alexa Bliss as a fucking demon girl over this. This is the best you have for Corbin. So Owens is like, I'll give you $1,000, but you have to beat me tonight. You have to actually earn it. And here's a condition. If you don't beat me and I beat you, you have to stop begging. You have to stop begging, stop doing this shit. This ruse is done, and you have to actually help yourself. Corbin says, I wouldn't be in this situation if you weren't a cheap, and keeps poking him. And before he can finish that, Owens cuts him off. It's the big stunner, and that was the segment. We go to that match. And by the way, this is the final match of the show, mind you. We've had, 3 matches? 3 matches. Yeah. So, basically, long story short, Kevin Owens wins with a roll-up and the leverage. Corbin tried to roll Owens up with the leverage, but this still kicks out, blocks a stunner, Owens rolls him up, 1, 2, 3, and that is that. Gets a stunner for his troubles, and we move on. We go to the back, and it's like, Kayla's at Corbin, what's next? Corbin shakes his head, then looks off, spots someone. He runs off, shoves Big E, grabs the Money in the Bank, and runs. And I'm like, that's not how the Money in the Bank works. You can't cash in. So he's going to try to cash. I guarantee you what's going to happen is at SummerSlam next week, Baron Corbin's going to come down, try and cash in. The ref's going to say, that's not yours. You don't get to cash in. And then Big E's going to have to do whatever. Sonya Deville's out for the contract signing. They have words. Sasha brings out Carmella, brings out Zelina Vega as witnesses. And I was like, I'm done with this. Rampage is coming on. I'm going to watch something else. Banks attacks Belair from behind to lay her out. Carmella and Vega return to the ring and double team Belair as Banks watches. Banks calls them off and launches Belair onto the table by her hair. Slams Banks face first. Banks slams her face first over the table. Grabs a strap and stands on top of her. Raising the belt in the air as fans boo. Banks applies the Banks statement on top of the table using Belair's braid to tighten the hold. Banks talks trash while laughing while pulling back on Belair's braid to keep the hold on. Fans boo. SmackDown goes off the air. And that was the show. It was okay. That is all you had to say about that. The match, the show overall was just terrible. That was it. This match, outside of Cena, like half of Cena and half of Roman, and the Intercontinental title match, the rest of this was crap. The rest of this show was just miss it, and you didn't miss anything. So I'd say probably, because it was the first hour was Roman and Cena in the Intercontinental title, and that was it. Everything else was in the second hour. You can miss that second hour. Get yourself an hour to wait for Rampage before that, and you move on. So, yeah. SmackDown goes off the air. We have one more show to go, and then SummerSlam. But that is all for Rampage outside of that main event, which was fucking awful. That is it. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds of the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance Club. And find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I will see you guys on Monday for Raw. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.